Hi, everybody. One of the great things about, science fiction, fantasy is being able to kind of explore and get into these new places that normal people can't touch. But over the weekend, there was a reminder of how strange things happen all the time. And I don't know if you read it, but there's this James Franco story that was published in Vice talking about reading some J.D. Salinger stories as bedtime stories to Lindsay Lohan. And sometimes there's just really strange things that happen in this world. So, we do our best to try and come up with some real things, but sometimes it's just silly, ridiculous stuff. I'm going to read an excerpt from a story. It's called Free from Influence. And here we go. I've told you about how my nervous flare-out started that morning because I hadn't taken my allergy meds and spring was whipping pollen into my face at full force. Near my bus stop, I bought the only antihistamines I could find at a bodega owned by that Chinese family who puts orange stickers with marginally inflated prices on everything from tall cans of iced tea to the New York Times. The dosage was extra strength diphenhydramine and didn't react well with my antidepressant. You were there for some of what happened next, but if you knew the total truth, I'm sure you'd flee from me forever. The episode that followed was what glued you to me, and ruining these past few ascending months would surely drop me into those darkest places I never want to see again. After blowing my nose of all its gossamer mucus nonstop for 20 minutes, the side effects started attacking as I exited the bus at the transfer station. The first sign my head wasn't right came rattling down the street when the Muni charged towards the station. There were about 20 other people waiting all around me, who all stiffened and swayed as the brakes cried like eagles. When the train crossed and stopped in front of us, it was in a lesser dimension. The regular train I rode every day to work in the morning now looked like a magazine cutout, with no z-axis extending backwards. The doors opened and two-dimensional passengers scuttled off like they were pasted on popsicle sticks beneath a stage held up by puppeteers. A rustling of leaves followed with this exceptional winnowing of random people. Once the car was empty, those waiting with me then wobbled onto the train and were also less than 3D. I was alarmed by what I was seeing, and my hands instinctively came up to my mouth. I gasped. Before I could complete the gesture, however, my arm snagged the satchel strap of a composed man in a three-piece charcoal suit. The velocity of the man's gait dragged me along with him through the train doors. I tried to apologize, but the man seemed to meow in anger at me, pawing at both the train doors and the arm I was desperately trying to free from the entanglement. I broke off the interaction as soon as I was loose and skittishly sat down near the back of the car, buried my face into the collar of my faded black sweatshirt, and pulled the hood down over my forehead so only my eyes knifed out. A flocking of anxiety overtook my mind. I'd hoped that burrowing into the seclusion of a heavy sweatshirt would clue the others that I needed to be left alone. Instead, a flanneled man with axe-handled limbs and a neatly parted blackened ponytail I'd never met before got up from across the train, walked over, and sat next to me. The man asked me by name through his long beard split in two bolo tie wisps if I was okay. I knew it had to be my guardian angel who inhabits strangers and speaks to me through them from the unknown. Did you hear that the Kennedy family is finally getting ready to release the secret tapes where Jackie O says she believed Lyndon Johnson and a group of Texas tycoons were involved in the assassination of her husband? My guardian angel asked with an oscillating, panting tone after confirming I was aware of who he was. The tapes were recorded by her friend, Arthur Schlesinger. They're supposed to reveal the former First Lady's belief that Oswald was a patsy as part of a larger conspiracy, and the accepted history shouldn't be trusted. What? Who cares? I responded, staring at the denim legs occupying the aisle in front of me. As my guardian angel continued blathering about the Kennedy conspiracy, my senses were still akimbo, and each bump under the train caused a rupture in my waning composure that seemed to crawl up my ankles and seize them. The assassination of President John F. Kennedy was a major turning point to the American mindset, my guardian angel said, while leaning in close enough for me to smell the cinnamon toothpaste the inhabited stranger used. That tragic day was when control of the federal government was taken from the hands of we the people and transferred to the oligarchy, ruled by the richest men in the country. The ordinary citizens of the United States have had little power over their government ever since. I let my guardian angel prattle on and eventually tuned him out, as I had so many times before. When you're depressed and just trying to survive, outside help is the last thing you want. Persevering is what's most important. Someone else's 2 cents is another unnecessary obstacle to maneuver around. And a guardian angel who's into conspiracy theories? Well, that's about as useful as listening to a physics lecture before finger painting. Mostly I've tried to ignore my guardian angel, figuring he'll leave when he's ready. While I feel a fleeting relief once my guardian angel departs, his visits rarely dole out any benefit other than offering a brief distraction from the grief of being me. It's amazing that there's so much paranoia in heaven, I remember thinking after first encountering my guardian angel back in 7th grade. Of course, I'd only met one representative from the beyond, so I couldn't be sure if there were more up there like my own guardian angel. It made sense in a way, just by the odds of arithmetic, considering how many crazies there are in San Francisco, wandering the streets and clustering in Golden Gate Park at all hours. Fortunately, the train sailed through all the lights and intersections during the route, and I didn't have to listen to my guardian angel for very long. I was standing at the rear doors as the train approached my stop, and I was out running on the sidewalk as soon as I could, hell-bent on putting fast distance between me and my guardian angel.